Hello friends, Tanya here with another video featuring some Spellbinders products. We're going to use the Mirrored Arch collection and the Let's Celebrate collection. We're going to start out using this Rainbow Twirl 12 by 12 paper from Paper Rose. It is gorgeous. I love all the rainbow qualities to it. And here I have cut 4 5 by 7 card fronts with one sheet of cardstock. And I'm going to show you how to do this. I'm going to choose another sheet. I just grabbed the top one from my packet, and look at that gorgeous rainbow stripes. Love this. So you're going to need a paper trimmer with the gliding blade. And what you're going to do is first make sure your piece is completely 12 by 12. So I trimmed off that extra piece there, and now I'm going to line up the mark with the 5-inch on the top and start my blade at the 7-inch mark on the sliding arm. And I'll just turn and keep doing that all the way around. Again, you are just lining the top edge to the 5-inch mark, and you are starting your blade at the 7-inch mark on the slider. So you start and just continue all the way around, and now you have 4 5 by 7 pieces and a 2-inch square when you're finished. For our first card, we're going to use the Peony background, which has been very popular. It's a BetterPress plate, and remember, you can press and foil with these plates. I've turned mine sideways on the BetterPress platen, and I am inking this up with some VersaFine Clair Nocturne ink. I want to have a really nice dark black inking, and look at that. Over this pattern paper, it is absolutely stunning. We've got this watercolor effect without much effort. Now I am going to turn this around and make sure that it's lined up correctly, and run that through my die cutting machine again. And look at that. We have a full 5 by 7 panel in no time at all. Now I want to try foiling this on this pattern paper. It's kind of a glossy cardstock, and that's why it made me think that maybe foiling would actually work very well on this. So I'm going to take this plate and some opaque black foil, lay that on our pattern paper, and tape it down. I'm going to turn this plate sideways on the BetterPress. No, sorry, on the Glimmer foil platform. I did return that to the base, let it heat up and set the timer, and then ran it through the die cut machine. And it turned out stunning. For the second half of this, I'm going to take this piece of opaque black foil again and line it up with the end of the foiling from the previous run. Just going to line up the edge of the plate with that foil and secure it with some best ever craft tape. Run that through my die cut machine again after it has been heated and the timer went off. So this is the foiling on the left and the inking on the right. Now I'm going to take this another step further, and I have this lavender petal foil that I'm foiling over some pattern paper. I chose one that was purpley red pink to begin with, and I really love how that turned out. The foiling with this is just stunning, and I do have some troubles with that lavender petal foil sometimes. Now I'm going to use the Mother's and Father's Day sentiments. This is from the Let's Celebrate collection, and I'm going to foil this this whole plate. It's one plate that foils all of the sentiments, which I love, and there's a coordinating die that die cuts all of the sentiments at once. I used some polished brass foil with this. I did it on white, and now I'm going to do it on craft colored cardstock. This happens to be Desert Storm, but you could use Dune or Portobello or any craft cardstock that you have in your stash that works well with foiling. I pull that off the plate, and look at that, just stunning. One more pass through the die cut machine using the coordinating die that cuts all of the sentiments at once. Just lining that up carefully, using some best ever craft tape to secure that in place. And this is the finished product. I love that. I did find some very red purple cardstock in my stash and made a 5x7 card base with that. I trimmed down our foiled pattern paper to 4.5 by 6.5 inches. I did put some extra cardstock behind that to add some extra dimension. And now we're going to add some white cardstock cut to 4.5 by 6.5 inches again to mat the inside of the card. Next, we're going to take the sentiment from the Mirrored Arch Sprigs, Nested Sprigs set. Actually, I used the reversed foiled of those different frames on, I think I used the specialty cardstock here with the brass foil, and I adhered that to the front. I'm using some die cuts from the fresh picked anemones. I did do a video on those a couple months ago, and I still have lots of these flowers left. Thought this was a perfect card to pull these in on. They look a bit like peonies, so they really pull into that peony background. I'm using this tall first, and my flowers are growing up over our central matted image, our foiled piece in the center there. And I love how these overlay on each other. Using my heavyweight block to help those adhere. And this is the sentiments that we just did. I'm going to do some extra layers behind this sentiment before we adhere it to the front of the card. These colors very much remind me of my mother. And that's who I was going to give this Mother's Day card to. She recently passed away. It was not an unexpected thing. I've gotten lots of sympathy from y'all, and I really appreciate that. But again, not an unexpected passing. It doesn't make it easier, but this was going to be my Mama's Day card this year. I think it will have to go to someone extra special, or it will just have to go in this. One of my coworkers gave me a box to keep small mementos about Mom, and I might put this card in there, just symbolizing that last year I spent with her. So that's card number 1. I love how that turned out, and you can see I used some flowers on the inside also. We're going to use the Celebrate Flowers plate. This is a BetterPress registration plate. So there's 2 plates to create your final product. Some of the BetterPress systems have more than that, but this one has 2. We're going to use the Versifying Clair inks in Charming Pink, Tulip Red, and Summertime. These are carried by Spellbinders, and they are wonderful. I love them. It just adds another way to ink all of the things. This ink actually works very well for all kinds of things. It stamps well. Your images are crisp and clear. You can emboss these images. You can watercolor over them. They are water safe. So I have that clear acetate with the printing for the BetterPress registration system here. So I laid the Celebrate on there. I have that sheet taped to the platen. I ran it through with the Celebrate part. Now I have the little flowers that go with it, and I have inked those with some gold pigment ink, and we'll run that through, and it's going to line them up very nicely with the Celebrate word. Look at that. Oh, I just think that's so pretty. I'm going to take an older retired set from Spellbinders. This is the Eyelet Lace Frame. This is one of the 5x7 sized die sets. It has lots of beautiful detailed layers, and what I'm really aiming for here is it creates this outline that has, it's kind of like the hem stitch. It's these little rows of squares around the perimeter, and I just flicked those out all the way around. I did cut a craft cardstock the same size as that, and that's going to feature prominently on the card. Here I'm taking a 8.5 by 5.5 inch piece of cardstock. So this is half a sheet of 8.5 by 11 cardstock. We're going to use that Floral Celebration. I think that's the name of this plate. And we're going to make a full half sheet of pattern on with this die plate, or with this BetterPress plate. Just going to turn that and run it through again, and we have an entire sheet like that. Here is that backer piece. I don't know why that was in that particular order, but I'm already doing the voiceover, so I am not switching it up. Sorry, y'all. I did add a little extra cardstock or between these layers to add a little depth. And, oh wait, no, I didn't. Why did I think I did? I just added a little extra, or sorry, I added the pieces together. Now I have extra cardstock behind the Floral Celebration press plate panel that I cut down to 4.5 by 6.5 inches. And then now we have our center portion that I did add extra cardstock behind now. And I'm going to glue those down in the center of the card. I love having layering dies for this, for the 5x7 versions. We're also going to use a sentiment from the Always and Forever BetterPress system, or plates. Yes, this was die and press plate together, cuts all of these sentiments all at once. It also presses them all at once. You don't have to worry about lining them up. This is amazing. It's one of the best things that has been come out with by crafting companies across the board. Loving it. We're also going to use some You Are Everything sentiments. These are BetterPress again. This is the Congrats. So proud of you. It's already been pressed with I think I used BetterPress ink for this one, and I don't remember what color it was, but it was a pinky red. I'm taking a scrap from that BetterPress gold pigment ink panel, and I'm going to add a strip of it inside the card. I am aiming to center this on the inside of the card, and I did trim this down to just slightly less than 5 inches wide, using my grid mat to help me line this up appropriately. And now I'll adhere that sentiment to the inside right over that BetterPress panel. I really think that looks nice. It would have been nice if I had a different color behind that sentiment, but it turned out well. All right, on to our next card. We're going to make another full-size panel of the BetterPress plate here, the Floral Celebration. I think that's what it was called. And I'm going to ink it up again and run it through. I'll turn my this part, chase, is that what it's called? I think the base is called the platen and the top is called the chase. So I run that through, and now we're going to watercolor this entire panel. I am using the Sakura Koi watercolor palette, and I just purchased some. These are just cheapies off of Amazon. They are travel watercolor brushes. They are round brushes in sizes, I think it's 4, 8, and 12, but I could be wrong. Might be, I can't remember exactly. But there is a slightly small brush, and all of the points come to a nice, they're nice pointy points. There we go. That's what I'm trying to say. Of course, they are brand new, and most brand new watercolor brushes have a nice point yet. I'm doing some purples and blues here at first, and I am doing a little highlighting. I'm not showing you every single flower that I paint, but I am showing you a few of each of the styles that I'm painting. I chose a different color for each of these types of flowers, and this very pale blue I created with that darker blue that you can see on my mixing palette and some titanium white, which is the very top left pot of paint in this panel or in this palette. So you can create some pastels this way. The watercolor paint that you create with this is a little bit opaque. It's not as translucent because the white adds some opacity to it. Each of the different styles of leaves gets the same treatment. They each get their own different color, and I do mix the different greens myself. You can see I've got a very much darker green up there for a second style of leaves. And I'm just going to go through and do each style of image individually. And there is my entire panel colored. We're also going to use some Royal Amethyst cardstock. This is from Spellbinders. It's a 100-pound cardstock and it foils beautifully. I'm using the Floral Celebration plate again. I love this plate. It's no wonder that both this and the Peony background are sold out everywhere that I've looked for it. Hopefully it comes back into stock soon. And I was going to hold off on creating or publishing some of these videos until they came back into stock. But I just, when I've done that in the past, I just don't end up publishing the video at all. So I'm just going to put it out there. Hopefully you'll get some inspiration from it. Maybe you can use some of these techniques for other products and get some ideas on how to use what's in your stash already. And yeah, or put this on your wish list and hopefully get these products when they come back in stock. I am doing a full half sheet of the foiling with the lavender petal here on the Royal Amethyst paper. You've seen me do this several times. It is super easy and I love it. We're going to use an older BetterPress plate. This is the Floral Happy. And I'm going to die cut the happy word from this beautiful paper that we created. I went to a whole lot of work to make those letters. But I do have a lot of it left. And I didn't really have a plan when I started doing it. I just really wanted to watercolor that background. Actually, I believe the BetterPress plate is still in stock, but the coordinating stencil is out of stock right now. Next, I'm taking the birthday from the Floral Happy BetterPress plate set, and I'm going to foil it with silver foil on some glossy black cardstock. I pulled this from my stash. Tonic has a good glossy cardstock, as did Trinity Stamps, but I think they've been sold out for a long time now. Tonic does have theirs in stock. There was a coordinating die for that birthday sentiment. I also have some extra cardstock scraps cut with that same die, and we're going to back those with 2 extra layers behind each letter. I'm just going to show you one of those. I do put them under a heavyweight block to help that glue dry. Next, I had used the Postage Edge Slimline die set to die cut this matted panel for a slimline card. I haven't done a full-size slimline card in a long time, but that's how this best fit. I thought maybe I shouldn't do another 5x7 card. Let's mix it up a little bit. I am using my T-square here to help my placement, and since this is the middle letter, I tried to line this up in the middle of the card. Now I think it's centered a little off. I think I used the wrong part of the letter to center it. When I tried to move it, it already had stuck to the cardstock and pulled some of it up, so that's as good as I could get it. Now I'm taking the end letter and adding that. I'm making sure everything's going to fit. I maybe should have dry fit this before I started adhering things, but yeah, here we go. See, I tried to pull that up and move it just a little more to the left, but again, it had already started to adhere and peeled up a little bit of the cardstock. So we'll just start adhering that. I'm pressing down on my T-square ruler and butting those letters up against them as I glue them down. Just adding some Barely Art Precision Glue, my favorite glue in the world. It does not set my asthma off. unless I'm having a bad asthma day, then everything, it doesn't matter. Everything sets my asthma off then. Even when my husband brews coffee, that can set my asthma off. All right, enough about my silly asthma. All right, we've got our last letter adhered, and I was going to just leave it like this, but since it was off center a little bit, I felt like I needed it a little more. We're going to take the Stitched Kaleidoscope Arch die set. It has these flowers and leaves, which I had made earlier, I think back in January when this set first came out, and I had some leftover pieces, and they coordinated with the colors I used on the whole card. So I decided to go ahead and use these. I'm doing some trimming of the stems to get these to fit because I'm not going to be able to slide them under the letters. Again, I am just making things up as I go and going with the flow. Could I have left off all these flowers? Yes, but they look good too. So I'm just going to put a cluster here at the beginning of the word to make up for that improper spacing. Did I put extra cardstock behind that postage edge slimline panel? Yes, I did. I have the card in front of me and I was just taking a peek to see if I had. I am deciding I need a few more flowers on this card scattered across the letters to tie it in with the whole design. So I have this branch of 3 blue flowers and I want a pink one, so I'm going to fish one out. See, this is why you save all of those extra bits and bobs from previous sessions that you didn't use. I often make extras, and it's kind of nice to have some pre-made things that you can just throw on your card when you need a little extra something. And I tend to do things in rainbows, so I tend to have a lot of color variety to choose from. This one worked just perfectly. I add the birthday sentiment and the black from the BetterPress Happy pattern really ties the black glossy cardstock into the design. Inside the card, we're going to add a few more of those flowers to finish it off. They have gold mirror cardstock as their center, so that adds a little shine there too. And I think these were spritzed with distressed mica stain also. So they are shimmery flowers. There's shine all over the place. So that's card number 3. We have 3 beautiful cards using 2 different collections in lots of amazing ways. I've mixed some old with the new. I had fun creating these. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't done that. Check that description box below for all of the products that I used today. Leave me a comment. Let me know what you enjoyed the most about this video, or what was a new technique to you. I have a bit of a flurry of videos for you, catching up with the videos I didn't post last month. So until next time, here are a couple more videos I thought you might enjoy. Bye-bye.